mentioned, 3 million New Yorkers across New York State receiving their SNAP benefits despite the threat of fines by the Trump administration.
The back and forth over SNAP benefit payments since late last week is confusing to follow. But this morning, we are joined by the head of New York City's Department of Social Services, Commissioner Molly Wasow Park, to help us understand where things stand on this Monday. Commissioner Park, thank you so much for being with us.
Thanks so much for having me.
Yes, talk about the confusion and frustration around this morning. Can you tell us if the nearly 2 million New Yorkers who rely on SNAP, have they gotten their money, or do they have to take some type of action to receive it?
So it is absolutely a very fluid situation, but what I can say is that our partners at the state, the governor's office, the Office of Temporary and Disability Assistance have been doing really heroic work to process benefits as quickly as possible. What we understand is that the first cohort of people who received SNAP benefits got them as recently as yesterday, and that by the end of the week, everybody should have access to the benefits on their card. It will show up on their EBT cards as normal. Nobody needs to take additional action. And if they want to check exactly where they are in the status, the state's website, EBT Edge, is available for them.
Yeah, that's important to know, because I was talking to you about how I was at the grocery store yesterday and it was flooded with folks, more crowded than normal on a Sunday, with folks who were not sure if their card had money on it. So they get to the register, some people did, some people didn't, and there were some fights that were breaking out with people saying, well, no, they released the funds.
Right. And it is typical in New York or big that the benefits come in waves, so that there are multiple cohorts and the benefits are paid out over the first couple of weeks of the month. So in some ways that is normal, but there has been so much conflicting news and such an involving situation that I understand people's anxiety.
Right. And adding to that, why did Supreme Court Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson send the appeal back to the lower courts instead of having the Supreme Court make the ruling?
So the Friday night ruling from Judge Jackson was very much a procedural step, not based on the merits of the case. So when an entity requests an administrative stay, it is essentially a freeze everything in place, maintain the status quo while the lower court has the opportunity to consider the merits. And so that's what she did. It is very typical for the Supreme Court to err on the side of granting the administrative stay so that the lower courts have the opportunity to consider.
Yeah, it's also very technical, and for folks who are listening right now, they're like, I don't care what the courts are doing, do I have my money? And so what the governor is doing, she's seemingly ignoring the Trump administration, saying we'll release the funds and even face fines, correct?
There's been a lot of very conflicting orders coming out of the USDA that administers SNAP at the federal level. As I say, the state has really been taking very aggressive and heroic action, in my opinion, to get people their benefits.
Okay.
So how did last night, we've been reporting on obviously the vote by Senate Democrats, which could hopefully bring this government shutdown to an end. How could that now impact SNAP benefits?
Right. So there's a lot of procedural steps to happen before we have a continuing resolution on the budget side, right? So last night the Senate took action to start the process. I anticipate that today they will actually vote to pass a bill or not pass a bill. Then the House has to act. They haven't been in session since September, right? And Mike Johnson, the Speaker of the House, has said that he'll give his members 48 hours notice to come back. So we're talking sort of earliest a House vote, middle of the week. Assuming they, in fact, act quickly to pass something, which is a big assumption these days, then the White House has to sign it. So I think we're looking at probably worst case scenario end of the week before there could be a continuing resolution in place. There's a lot of reasons to view this continuing resolution as controversial. There's some healthcare challenges there for sure. What I will note is that while the Senate proposal extends government operations through the end of January in most cases. For SNAP, it goes through the end of the federal fiscal year, so through the end of September. So clearly SNAP is top of mind for Congress.
Okay, but just to go back and be clear for a moment, some folks got their SNAP benefits over the weekend. They were able to buy food. Some people were not. So are those people who did not, are they anticipated to get money in their account sometime this week?
Yes, we fully anticipate, based on the state's actions, that everybody will have access to benefits by the end of the week.
And regardless of what happens with the continuing resolution or whatever happens in D.C., will that continue?
That is our understanding.
Okay.
It is a very fluid situation. We are treating this as an emergency until we know that all 1.8 million New Yorkers have their benefits in hand. We've been very pleased that we've been able to put additional money into food pantries, which is there as a emergency resource. We've been giving contractual flexibility to our partners so that they can help buy food for their clients, and we are continuing to evaluate what Plan B, C, and D look like.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, obviously, this is a lot of red tape. This is procedure behind the scenes, but this is people's livelihood. This
Absolutely.
Can you say that website one more time for people to actually check their cards?
So checking cards is EBT Edge. That is a state website. And in New York City, for those who are looking for access for emergency resources, it's on.nyc.gov/food resources.